We've got a few minutes left, and what I'd like to do in the last couple of minutes, obviously I'm going to bring you guys in on that topic in a second. And I'll be asking Danny in a minute maybe, and also John, regarding the skills. Is there a skill set that's missing that people will need to survive over the next 12 or 18 months, as far as being able, the preparation of the case for a creative industry to tap into maybe funding that is more commercially driven than socially driven, as it has been over the last 5 or 10 years. So I'd like to open it up to the audience a little bit. You know, we've talked about the challenges that are going to be faced by the creative industries in Manchester as the public funding is withdrawn. I'd like to ask you to voice your opinion on what you see as the key challenges maybe for yourself as a business, and maybe ideas or share ideas on how you think businesses will be able to sort of protect themselves going forward, put the right set of skills together, and actually win business. So invite the audience. Somebody's got a question on that?
Where are our girls with the radio mics? Are you around? Anyone?
In fact, I get Dave Edmond.
I got a nice guy at the front with the...
Dave Edmondson Bird, Manchester University. No, Manchester Metropolitan University.
So I've got a brand problem there. It's kind of a loaded question, which is how do you stop my graduates running off to London because they think the streets are paved with gold? And they're going to do that more and more when they realise they're going to have to find 40 grand in 5 years as opposed to the 10 grand they were told about. So what a northern creative business is going to do to soften that financial blow?
I.e. there, obviously, Dave just asking, will we experience a talent drain that is based really from a financial perspective, obviously, but the imminent rises in tuition fees, will we see our talent go off to London, or will we be able to retain that talent in the north? It may be interesting just to bring Trevor in on that first, how Umbro as a company just locally would see that. Is the talent pool going to be enough locally, or are you going to have to sort of search a little bit further to bring talent in?
Well, my experience so far, as I said, I've been at Nike for a long time, both in here and in Europe. The team or the people we've recruited in Manchester are beyond anything I've worked with anywhere else at Nike in any sphere. So there's certainly great local talent here. We haven't gone beyond kind of the boundaries of the city, to be honest, in recruiting probably 15 people just in my team over the last year or so. I think we have a responsibility, and one thing we haven't done particularly well yet is to project ourselves better back to your graduates as an employer brand. So we're out there as a consumer brand, but I think we have to do a better job engaging with some of the educational institutions, etc., and getting in there a bit more front foot, setting up talent development programs, internships, etc., which is certainly in the next 12 months for us a big priority in terms of how we're perceived as an employer brand, really to stop the thought process that London is the be all and end all, because as the talent we've recruited, the agency talent we work with in the city is, as I said, beyond what I've found anywhere else.
And just asking John and then just Danny to sort of comment on that. Obviously, we're looking at Unity Radio, looking at artists. We've got Peel Media with their £670 million media city complex on the doorstep. We've got the Sharp project down the road in Manchester. And as I've pointed out to Peel themselves, don't look at Peel Media's Media City as a property play, which unfortunately they're doing at the moment, as in we can sell 15 million square feet or whatever it is, instead of looking how do we attract the right creative companies, and not just we talk about a brain drain but the ability to attract talent in to Manchester, because if I was a creative agency, if I was in Lithuania and I was developing apps, or I was developing software or had technology which had a media entertainment aspect to it, I would want to be in Manchester to talk to the commissioning editors of the major media groups, because although you can code from your back bedroom in Estonia, when it comes down to doing a deal, you have to meet this man, you have to meet the panel, you have to meet people that are in the audience to do that face-to-face deal, and you can't do so. It's get on an easy jet over to Manchester and set up shop. So I can see the talent coming in as well, because the BBC have told me that their expectation is if they get 40% of their staff moving up from the south, that's their success target. 30% coming in from other regions of the BBC. So if you're in Newcastle or Belfast, you'll think, wait, Media City, that's a good gig, I'll head over to Manchester. And then secondly, the indigenous audience locally, which obviously is down to not the higher education sector so much, but maybe the further education, to produce the right level of skills and to produce it for jobs that actually exist, and not for something that's made up on a media studies course, which by the time you get out of it, the job will have disappeared because technology will have overtaken it. So I think we do have the ability to create, but that is back to pressure groups like this. And I'll call this a lobbying group in a way.
Yeah, it is. It's a movement.
To act as a group of people to get out there and actually, push the message about what we can do, because there's going to be thousands of people needed at Media City. There's people at Sharp Project, and it's also about, I suppose, looking at Unity Radio and also what you're doing with the signed and unsigned bands, helping people develop the skills that if they cannot get a job, give them the ability to become an entrepreneur. Because we talk about our friends at Kahuna here, they're entrepreneurs. The guys have had to go and do their own thing. They've worked for other people, they want to do their own thing. And there's going to be thousands, hopefully, of groups like that who can create value. So I'll just pass it over to Danny and then back to John, and then we'll have one or two more questions, and then we'll just wrap it up a little bit.
Cheers. Just going to like what you said before, like myself, I'm from like North London, and I like moved up here because like it was people like from like the north who came to like my school and stuff when was saying like it's there for the taking if you want it. It doesn't matter where you go. And like I've never been spoken to like that. So I was like, how dare you speak to me like that? And then afterwards I had a bit of a think and I was like, I'm having it. And then like by and by did a bit of traveling, came up here and like landed in Manchester, and I've never looked back since. And neither's like my partner who set it up with me. He's from like Yorkshire, and he like moved here, and we've never moved since, and it's been great so far.
I think John's right as well. I think it is a massive PR exercise, because I mean that's the reason I set up Northern Soho, because I really believe that the talent does exist up here. It's just that we just don't shout about it enough.
And John, with regards to Unity Radio, obviously the skills that are needed from an entrepreneurial point of view for the people that, with looking at community radio, looking at the stuff that you're doing, the development of skills. I mean, Dave here is involved in developing executive education, and I'm a great believer that maybe the creative industries does need a number of programs to help them develop the entrepreneurial business skills.
Can I backpedal a little bit, talk about public spending? New Labour government, big fan in decentralisation. Big worry is going to be that everything's going to be run from Buckinghamshire, which obviously is going to put more faith in the city, and certainly that means there's going to be more interest in London. A lot of the work that we've done has been working with local authorities, and we've given local artists the opportunity to supplement their income streams by being positive role models, by being facilitators, keeping them close to the source of their primary objective, which is to become successful musicians and spread those skills with other young people. So certainly, the climate means that we need to change, but I think adaptability is the word.
Absolutely.
And it's a key word that we need to really embrace. Coming back to, people like Trevor, I think they've got the right idea, because viral marketing and social networking means that, people now have the opportunity to say something shit and people will believe them. And coming back to what you were saying earlier, blogging. So, companies like Trevor are going to be key in the next 18 months. And, if they put their word behind people like well, as we're talking about the creative industries, and certainly, you know, the back cities outside of London, I think that we're going to see some really positive outcomes.
And I think as well, brands realise that if you put something into a community, you do get a reward back, and it's strange. I mean, this is the old story of Marks and Spencer's in the 1930s. As a company, couldn't get credit anywhere. And it was actually the Prudential Insurance Company that stumped up some cash flow money for Marks and Spencer's. And to this day, the Prudential are the only people that Marks will deal with. Because when they were in the shit, the Pru helped. So I think what's going to happen is that, you know, we've got sophisticated audiences. They do blog. They see through marketing as well. And if they see that people are engaging and investing back into the community, you know, they will support the brand, and that's what's working very well for Umbro, because as a brand, its exposure over the last few years has been phenomenal, you know, as a major brand. I'm going to ask one last question. Excellent. Neil Lewis.
I'll just say, actually, for just looking at time, I know, Phil, you've got
I've got a dinner to host.
A dinner to go to, haven't you?
So
I can take over from the Q&A if you want to shoot off. So we'll just have a big round of applause for Phil when he goes.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much for supporting us.
And hopefully the applause is because you enjoyed and not that you're glad to see the back of me.
I'll take your place.
Thank you very much indeed, everybody.
We can get a few more questions in there. We don't have to rush so much.